We're delighted to announce once again that our programs in African Christianity here at Church Mission Society, CMS, in Oxford are open for intake. We are recruiting new students for this coming academic year, starting in September 2024, going on to 2025. We are looking to create new cohorts of students, both in our master's program and in our certificate undergrad program. On the master's program, we've run the program for 3 years now. This will be the 4th year, and so we're looking forward to create our 4th cohort. And the journey in the past 3 years and the journey with the 3 cohorts that we already have on the program has been a wonderful experience, both from us as facilitators and teachers on the program and also for the students. This has been a very enlightening journey. On the one hand, we have learned a lot about how to do theological education in a context of multicultural students, having our African students or African MA students together with the pioneer students here at CMS has been an experience on its own, something that we have enjoyed thoroughly across the years. But also just beginning to see how our African students are working with the program to help them make sense of where God has located them in terms of God's mission in the world. That has also been a delight. We've had quite great feedback from our students over the years. Students find the program quite enriching. They find it quite enlightening. They love the fact that it's decidedly taught from an African perspective, and so whether they are reading a book or whether they're writing an essay or whatever they're doing, they are doing it with an African mind, and therefore allows them to think outside the box of what would have happened elsewhere. One of the things that our students have really enjoyed a lot in the program over the past 3 years is our module on African church history that allows them to study African church history right from the beginning, from the book of Acts, from the times that John Mark lands in Alexandria and becomes the leader, the church planter, and later the bishop of the church in Alexandria, all the way down the centuries to actually what's happening in African Christianity today. So we spent some time talking about the Christian kingdoms of Sudan that existed between 500 and 1500 AD and then disappeared up until they were discovered in the sands along the Nile in the 1960s. Another aspect of the study that our students enjoy is the history of the Ethiopian church, otherwise known as the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, the church that's gone on from the 4th century AD all the way to where we are today in the 21st century AD. And it's a church that actually has scattered from Ethiopia to different parts of the world and is easily in some parts of the world part of the fastest growing Christian communities. But our students also enjoy looking back at the coming again of Christianity to Africa from Europe, beginning in the 1400s when the Portuguese tried to circumnavigate Africa. Another aspect of African church history is the Christian kingdom of the Congo that reflects the coming again of Christianity to Africa from Europe. It was the Portuguese who in the 1400s were trying to circumnavigate Africa and ended up converting a king in the Congo who would then convert his kingdom, and we end up with a story of the Christian kingdom of the Congo that existed for a good 200 years. That kingdom, being an important part of the story, leaves us with some key stories and some key figures, key leaders that we proudly believe that every African Christian needs to know about. For example, King Pavita, Donna Beatrice, a youngish woman who was a prophetess in the church in the Christian kingdom of Congo, whose history and whose life, whose impact still reverberates around the Congo today. But we also move forward and we talk about the coming again of European missionaries, especially in Southern Africa, especially in the 1800s, exploring key parts of the story and key figures in that history, including David Livingstone and a few other key Europeans that actually serve in mission in Africa. We move forward, we talk about African Pentecostalism and how it's emerged and really been exported from Africa around the world. And then we talk about the other aspects of African Pentecostalism, including the African prophets that actually really shape the story of African Christianity today. You will probably know something about T.B. Joshua, or probably you've heard about Shepherd Bushiri and a few other prophets in the continent that are having a serious impact on African Christianity today. In addition to this, we spent some time talking about African religion, really because we believe that you do not understand African Christianity and you do not understand African Pentecostalism without understanding African religion. And so we take students on a journey through the literature, reading some of the key resources around African religion and allowing them to make connections between what happens in African religion and what happens in African Christianity, especially in Pentecostal and charismatic forms of African Christianity. It's been said, and we do think that there's some truth in this, that African Pentecostalism really takes off because it reflects parts of African culture and parts of African religion, and that there's a direct connection between African religion and African Pentecostalism. And it's helping students make those connections that allows them to begin to understand their studies, understand their work, understand the world in a different light. We're also delighted to announce that the Church of England has allowed us to train ordinands, especially those interested in African Christianity. So this allows the many Africans who have come to the UK, plus many other non-Westerners who find themselves in the UK, to be able to train in a manner that allows them to bring their identity along through their theological education, so that informs their ministry, that they minister not just like any other person. Their Africanness is seen through their ministry, and that to us is a delight that we have an opportunity to train ordinands for the Church of England. We invite, we encourage all interested to apply.